There comes a time in every person's life when they must stop running from the quiet places within. The world is loud. It will tell you what to chase. It will show you the glare of gold, the glitter of bodies, the thrill of applause, the rush of power, and the lie that these things will last. It's a beautiful lie, wrapped in the silk of seduction, of control, of the fantasy that the more you take, the more you become. But at the end of every chase is the same truth. You are still you. And if you haven't done the inner work, that you will still feel like a hollow shell. No matter how many zeros sit in your account, no matter how many followers clap your name, no matter how many nights you conquer another body only to feel emptier by morning. Sex, power, riches, materialism, they all promise freedom. But used without purpose, they only deliver prisons with velvet bars. We live in a culture that is constantly trying to sell you a shortcut to fulfillment. It whispers, you'll be happy when you get her, when you leave him. When you own that house, when they envy your life, when you finally prove them wrong. But no one tells you what happens after the applause fades, after the phone goes silent, after the thrill wears off and all you're left with is a bed too big and a heart too tired. There is a reason so many people can have everything the world calls a success and still cry themselves to sleep. The truth? Sex without intimacy becomes performance. Power without humility turns destructive. Riches without generosity lose all flavor. Materialism without meaning is a graveyard of joy. And no soul, no matter how strong, can survive a life built on shadows and illusions. We weren't made to conquer people. We were made to connect with them. We weren't created to collect trophies. We were created to leave a legacy. And you do not need to own the world to be whole. You just need to own your choices. There is a line that rings deep in the heart. The greatest battles in life are not won in the spotlight. They're won in silence, in the decisions no one sees, in the discipline no one applauds, in the moments when you could choose what's easy, but instead you choose what's right. In relationships, in marriage, in family, in the places that actually matter. The real test is not how much you gain, but how much you grow, how well you listen, how much you give without needing anything back, how consistently you choose someone even when it's not convenient. How deeply you live, not for what people can take from you, but for what you can give that outlives you. So before we go deeper, ask yourself this: have you been chasing pleasure? Or have you been building peace? Have you been collecting moments or creating meaning? Are you building a home or just building a persona? Because the world is quick to sell you sex, power, riches, and materialism. But what it won't sell you is peace, love, purpose, and real connection. Those are not found in what you consume. They are born in what you commit to. Let us now begin. Not by trying to take more from the world, but by learning what the heart was truly made for. Here are 5 powerful guiding points you can use to deeply explore the topic of sex, power, riches, and materialism, each crafted to spark thought, shift perspective, and invite deeper meaning into your life, your relationships, and your purpose. Use these as pillars, as anchors, and as the quiet truths that stay standing when everything else gets loud. 1. Redefine pleasure. From escape to connection, there comes a moment in every person's life, quiet and unannounced, where they begin to question the very things they once pursued so passionately. The chase for pleasure, the rush of desire, the thrill of indulgence, it all begins to lose its luster when it is rooted in escape rather than connection. In this world where noise is loud and attention is currency, many are left starving for something deeper than dopamine. Pleasure in itself is not wrong. In fact, it is a natural expression of joy, love, and presence. But when pleasure becomes a hiding place, when it becomes a substitute for genuine emotional intimacy, it starts to damage what it was meant to celebrate. The tragedy of life is not in the failure to reach your dreams, but in chasing what doesn't feed your soul. So ask yourself, is what you're calling pleasure building a bridge between two hearts? Or is it just a way to run from your own? So many people today are stuck in cycles, short-term highs that leave them empty. They consume, they swipe, they scroll. They jump from one experience to another, thinking the next one will make them feel something real. But connection, real connection, doesn't come wrapped in stimulation. It's not about what you get in the moment. It's about what you grow over time. When you stop trying to escape yourself, you begin to discover someone else. In silence, in shared glances, in conversations that stretch late into the night. That's when pleasure transforms. That's when it becomes sacred. not in a religious sense, but in a deeply human sense. Sacred because it holds truth. Sacred because it holds honesty. What the heart longs for is not more noise, it's understanding. It's not more attention, it's presence. It's presence. The greatest relationships aren't built on fireworks, they're built on foundations. They don't seek the next high, they build higher meaning. If you want love that lasts, redefine what pleasure means to you. Let it be about the connection you foster, not the escape you crave. Because at the end of the day, real pleasure isn't about losing yourself. It's about finding someone who helps you come back to who you really are. And that starts with slowing down, going deeper, and choosing meaning over momentary escape. Every single time. Two, replace control with courage. In the quiet tension of every relationship, there's often a silent battle. A struggle between the urge to control and the courage to trust. Control wears many disguises. It might look like overplanning, constant correction, or needing to have the last word. But beneath it all lies one truth: fear. Fear of being vulnerable, fear of being hurt, fear of not being enough. We try to manage love like a schedule, hoping that if we keep everything tight, nothing will fall apart. But real love doesn't thrive in tight fists. It breathes in open palms. You cannot love and control at the same time. Love demands courage, the courage to let things unfold, to let people grow, to allow space for mistakes and mercy. Too many couples fall apart not because they stopped loving, but because they started managing each other. They became project managers instead of partners. They measured the worth of a moment by how well it met their expectations rather than how honestly it was lived. But the truth is, love isn't safe. Love is brave. It walks into the unknown and chooses to stay, not because everything is certain, but because the heart says, this is worth it anyway. Control tells your partner, I don't trust you to be who I need you to be. Courage says, I believe in the person you're becoming, and I want to walk that path with you. The strongest relationships are not held together by perfection, but by patience and the daily decision to choose trust over fear. Let go of the need to choreograph every outcome. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is sit beside your partner in their imperfection, without fixing them. Or look them in the eye and say, I'm not here to change you. I'm here to love you through the change. Replace control with courage. It won't be neat. It won't always feel good. But it will be real. And real is where love finds its roots. When you give up the illusion of control, you gain something greater, freedom. And in that freedom, love finally has room to grow, to surprise, and to endure. 3. Rekindle the small things that matter in every great fire. It's not just the large logs that keep the flame alive. It's the tiny sparks. In a marriage, too, the small things, the glances, the touches, the thank yous, the inside jokes, the quiet support. These are the sacred coals that keep love burning long after passion has cooled or storms have passed. You see, relationships don't often collapse under the weight of one giant mistake. They slowly drift apart when the small things get forgotten, when a smile becomes rare, when, how was your day? Is no longer asked when a kiss goodbye turns into silence at the door. It is not the grand gestures that save a marriage, but the daily ones, the gentle, uncelebrated, ordinary acts of attention. A single rose on a random Tuesday. The way you refill their coffee cup without being asked. Sitting in the room without speaking, yet feeling heard. These are not insignificant. These are the things that knit two souls together quietly and permanently. So many people search for solutions in the extraordinary. They ask, what can I do to fix us? As though the answer isn't a vacation, a gift, or a big romantic speech. But the truth, the deep, unwavering truth, is that healing often begins in the unnoticed. If you want your love to last a lifetime, invest in the small acts that cost nothing but mean everything. And rekindling doesn't mean recreating the past. It means choosing the present. It means saying, I see you. I appreciate you. I still choose you, even now. It means doing again what you did in the beginning. Not because you have to, but because you want to remember what made you fall in love in the first place. Marriage is not a destination. It's a daily choice. And every small thing you do, or don't do, is a brick in the house you're building together. So make the bed. Send the message. Hold the hand. Laugh at their joke. Compliment their strength. And when things feel hard, go smaller, not bigger. A love doesn't need fireworks to survive. It needs a spark, tended daily with care and consistency. Because when the big moments fade, and they will, what's left is what you've planted day by day. Rekindle the small things, and you'll find that what you're rebuilding is not just the memory of love, but the living, breathing presence of it. Here now, always. 4. Rebuild trust through daily actions. Trust is not a single promise kept. It is a lifetime of promises honored, one quiet action at a time. In a world full of noise, headlines, betrayals, and broken commitments, we often forget this simple truth. Trust is not rebuilt in grand gestures. It's rebuilt in the details, in the rhythm of daily life, in the choices no one sees, in the words spoken softly, and the ones chosen not to be spoken at all. When a relationship has been wounded, whether through distance, dishonesty, distraction, or even simple neglect, trust doesn't come back with one apology. It returns piece by piece, like the tide returning to the shore. Slowly, steadily, daily. You cannot demand trust. You can only live in a way that invites it to return. Think about that. You cannot force someone to trust you. You cannot beg them back into believing in your loyalty, your truth, or your love. Your truth or your love. What you can do, and must do, is show up every day, consistently, authentically, without excuse. That means being where you say you'll be. That means meaning the words you speak. That means doing the things that matter. Not once, but every day. Not perfectly, but faithfully. It means being transparent, even when it's uncomfortable. It means being dependable, especially when no one's watching. It means not hiding behind silence or defensiveness, but owning your flaws with humility and strength. Real strength is not in never falling, but in rising again with hands open and intentions clear. When trust has been broken, even the smallest action carries great weight. A message answered promptly. A calendar shared openly. A conversation had without delay. These are not control tactics. These are love in motion. These are signals that say, you matter. I am here. I want to earn you back, not just win you back. And remember, rebuilding trust is not just for those who've made mistakes, even in strong marriages, because trust isn't permanent. It's alive. It breathes. It needs feeding. And every day you choose honesty, openness, kindness, and consistency, you're laying another brick in the foundation. I'll let your actions speak so loudly that the heart has no choice but to feel safe again. Don't get discouraged if progress feels slow. The deeper the wound, the more careful the stitching. But healing is possible. Trust can be revived. And the relationship that emerges on the other side, tested, refined, matured, can be more beautiful than it ever was before. So show up. Speak gently. Act with integrity. Apologize without pride. Listen without defense. And love, not just in words, but in unwavering, steady action. Because love without trust is a flame without fuel. And trust rebuilt, day by day, is the fire that will warm your marriage for a lifetime. 5. Realign with a shared vision for the future. Marriage is not just about sharing a home, it's about sharing a direction. When two people unite, they don't just bind their hearts, they bind their hopes, their dreams, their futures. And over time, life has a way of pulling people apart. Not necessarily in anger or betrayal, but through distraction, routine fatigue, or simply growing silently in different directions. That's why it's essential, absolutely essential, to pause and realign with a shared vision for the future. And when two people walk in unity, their steps create music louder than any noise trying to pull them apart. A shared vision is the compass of a marriage. Without it, even the strongest couple can drift. You may still sleep in the same bed, share the same meals, attend the same events. But emotionally and spiritually, you can feel like strangers. You may still love each other deeply, but feel disconnected, misunderstood, or lost in the maze of life's busyness. So, what does realigning look like? It begins with conversation. Not just about the bills or the kids or the errands, but about purpose, about dreams, about legacy, about what kind of life you want to build together. Not just what kind of life you're surviving through today. Ask each other. Where do we want to be in 5 years? What kind of parents do we want to be? What kind of home do we want to create? What values do we want to be known for? How can we support each other's calling? When you have a vision that's shared, even the storms feel like they're leading somewhere. Maybe in the past your vision was shared, but now it feels like you've each started steering a different ship. That's okay. What matters most is that you recognize it and return to each other with humility, curiosity, and openness. Sometimes realignment also means letting go of what no longer serves you. Outdated expectations, buried resentment, unspoken disappointments. It means recalibrating your priorities. It means listening again to what matters most and deciding together what to hold on to and what to release. A marriage aligned in vision is a marriage aligned in power, because when you both move in the same direction, the friction fades. The competition dissolves. The love becomes a force that builds instead of breaks, grows instead of grinds. And here's something crucial. This shared vision isn't just for the big life plans. It's also for the daily ones. It's about how you treat each other in the morning. How you handle disagreements. How you celebrate wins, grieve losses, and create meaning out of everyday moments. Let your marriage become more than survival. Let it become a mission. A journey you both believe in. A path you're both proud to walk, side by side. Because in the end, the couples who last aren't the ones who never struggle. They're the ones who keep choosing the same future, together. One conversation, one dream, one step at a time. Let's sit down together for a moment. Not as strangers, not as broken people, not as failures in love or life, but as human beings. Fragile, complex, but capable of healing, rebuilding, and rewriting the future. Because if you've made it this far, if you've listened, reflected, and taken in the points we've walked through together, then I want you to understand something deeply. This isn't the end. This is the turning point. Your marriage isn't a broken thing. It's a living thing. And just like anything that breathes, it can be revived. It can grow again. It can change. It can rise. And the truth, it wants to. Deep down, the soul of your relationship is still calling out, not for perfection, but for presence. Not for the fairy tale, but for the real fight. The kind that says, I still believe in us. Every sunset in marriage brings a choice, to let the night fall in silence or to light a new candle of connection. There's no shame in admitting that you've drifted, that you've been distant, that you've yelled too much or said too little, that you've slept beside someone and still felt alone, that you've questioned whether love was still there. Every couple has walked through that valley in one way or another. But what separates those who stay from those who fall apart isn't luck or magic. It's intention. It's the decision to relearn how to listen, not just hear. It's the decision to pause and reflect instead of instantly reacting. It's the decision to bring back the small gestures that once made you both smile. It's the decision to rebuild trust, not with grand promises, but with daily proof. It's the decision to realign, not just in body, but in soul, toward a shared vision for the life you still want to build. That's the blueprint. That's the map. That's the path forward. But here's the secret no one wants to admit. Love doesn't die in a storm. It dies in the silence between two people who stop trying. So let's make a vow, and not the kind spoken once on a wedding day, but the kind you speak today in your heart. Vow to show up. Vow to be uncomfortable. Vow to rebuild even when it's slow. Vow to communicate like you care. Vow to stop blaming and start understanding. Vow to stop defending your pain and start defending your partner's dignity. Vow to make your marriage a team again, not a tug of war. Because you weren't meant to survive this life alone. You were meant to walk beside someone who helps you become more of who you really are. And if you've lost that connection, you can find it again. If you've dropped the thread, you can pick it up again. If your hearts have grown cold, they can be warmed again. It takes work. It takes choice. It takes choice. It takes humility. But most of all, it takes belief. You can't rewrite the past, but you can redecide the future. Together. So don't quit. Don't walk away from something that can still become the most beautiful chapter of your life. Don't let silence win. Don't let pride hold your future hostage. Stand up. Speak up. Show up. Because the love you still crave isn't behind you, it's ahead of you. Waiting, ready, and still possible. Now, go get it.